Hi everybody, it's Jean, and I'm back with a video that I recorded several weeks ago. I totally forgot about it, and as I was deleting videos from my camera, I thought, "Oh my goodness, I've not ever put this up, or finished it." So anyway, I had wasn't real happy with my recording of it, and so I didn't leave the recording on it. I must have not been talking or having an issue or something. But when I saved it without any of my chatter. So now you get a voiceover. So we'll see. Gosh, my tea bags are all tangled there. What I'm doing here is I have dried tea bags. I saw Betsy Doodle made a wonderful page with her tea bags, and I thought I'm going to do that. I love how that looks. Now mine had quite a bit of variance of color because in this house I have a lot of herbal teas that aren't dark. So it didn't take me long to save up the tea, but the tea that I particularly like has the darker tea bag. The tea that my son likes has the lighter tea bag. So I saved it all. She didn't. She didn't use the tags or the string, but I put the tags and the strings in because I'm doing something different here. Mine's more of a background. Hers looked like a focal piece or a cover to maybe a journal. So it's just a little bit different. But yeah, I was really loving working with this. It was very easy to dry. You just save your tea bags. When you take them out, you squeeze out all the tea and the liquid in them and just set them up on an elevated surface and like a dish drainer or something where any liquid can drip through. And they just take a day or so to dry, and you open it carefully and the tea just falls right out. You've got wonderful little mesh bags here to play with. So anyway, so I'm calling this kind of my second layer. My first layer are the lines in the composition book, and the second layer is the tea bags. And in between, it also, it kind of has that patchwork look because even as you layer one over another, you get a third color. So as you can see, this one section of mine up at the top here doesn't have much color to it. So I went ahead and added some pieces there just to even that out a little bit. Even though it's going to be a background and you aren't going to see a whole lot, I like to have it look the way I like it before I move on. So so anyway, this was fun, and I didn't need to dry it first because I was layering more paper over it. So I had this interesting, very ugly turkey paper, and I thought, okay, well, we'll just put that down in the back, just a little bit on this side, a little bit on the other side. And the colors are great. I love the colors, and we'll cover that partially with some nice music and just make it more in the background. And use up some of that paper. It's not great, but it's very seasonal and appropriate for this time of year. So yeah, let's do it. Let's use what you have. And I like to see if I can make things that I like out of something that I didn't like to start with. Which is kind of silly, but I do. I kind of like to do that. Kind of like the way I like to take a really messy kitchen, and I have much more fun cleaning up a really messy kitchen than one that just needs, you know, some dishes washed or something. That is not as kind of as fun to me. Well, anyway, I added another layer here, and I sprinkled some brown paint. I kind of thought, ooh, it looks a little bit like tea leaves now, so I wasn't real happy with that. But anyway, I decided I better dry, and then in order to blend that out a little bit, I added a little bit of my paint water. Paint water always has some color to it that's interesting to me, so I add a little bit of paint water, and I do like it a lot better with that greenish tinge to it. And so I dried it really well, but I really wanted to dry it good because some of the water dripped down into the fold of the page, and that's not good with these kind of books because you don't want to weaken your paper to where they'll tear out. So I want to make sure I get it really, really bone dry before I move on. And so I'm working very hard and making sure that every bit of it's dry. I always like to dry on the back side of the page as well because it helps to keep it from warping too badly. I like it to warp a little bit. I like the feeling that it gives when it's kind of warped and thick, but it does do better if you give it a good dry on the back. It helps to keep it somewhat stable. So I had two of those pieces. I didn't cut that one off of the other. That's the second piece, and I really like that. You know what that is? That's a dish of some sort, but I thought it looked like a mushroom, so I liked it. I had just harvested these pieces, and I was anxious to use them. Sometimes if I let it go for a long time, I kind of lose my enthusiasm for what I've taken out of a magazine. So I'm going to I'm going to try and use the papers that I harvest right away instead of waiting too long. And if I don't use them, then I'm just ditch them, I guess, because I get too much buildup, and then there's too overwhelming, and there's too many, and it's hard to make decisions. So while it's fresh, while I first harvest it, I looked at it and I think, oh, I can use that. I want to use that. I want to do it while I'm happy and interested in it. This piece I absolutely loved, and I couldn't wait to use it. And then I was kind of lukewarm about it once I put it on there. But oh well, it's in there, and it might have been, had I cut it a little bit differently, it would have been better. Decided to use Wait for the Lion, use it a different day. But that's what I wanted on that piece of paper. This piece here is a Tiffany lamp or a stained glass lamp of some sort. So I thought, ooh, that's pretty. I really like that. And I love half circles. That's just my thing. I just love half circles or partial circles. So so anyway, I'm having fun layering stuff on here, just being busy and kind of staying in the theme of the color theme. And I did put that extra tape on there just to make sure that the center is stable. I think it's at this point I decided this is not going to be a full page spread. This is going to be two different spreads because I have two completely separate pages, because the things I want to use on the left side are not part of what I'm using on the right side. This young lady is very romantic. Love the vintage look to her outfit, although it's a modern, she's a model, and it's a modern outfit, well, somewhat from the 90s. Not from the 1890s, but from the 1990s. So anyway, but I liked it. It was very romantic, and it was very interesting, and it was a lot of fun. And it was really a page that could have gone in my new romance journal, But no, I went with it here because I have a lot of focal pieces that I can use in the romance journal. So I went ahead and used it because I felt like it. Now on this page is more of a Thanksgiving-ish look with, I wanted the pumpkins, I wanted the gardener. Isn't he cute? Doesn't he just look like he'd be just so fun to know? I liked him a lot, and I definitely wanted to use him. And he just looks like a little gardener to me, and an outdoorsy kind of fun person. And it gives me kind of a good feeling. So, so that's a whole different feel to that page than it is to the other page. I've got a lot of little pieces that I want to kind of add on here, and I need to figure out what sentiments I want to use. So all of these go into the finished thing. I kind of wish I left that make art grow. I like how that looks, but no, I took it off. I took it off, and you know, I mean, it's not glued down, it's just laying there. So you'll see it's gone in a minute. And now I've found, this is a new page of words that I found recently, and I thought, ooh, that's, I want to use that. It didn't show up as well as I would have liked up there. The green kind of blended in with the brown. So eventually I did move it down onto her white dress. I might not see that in the video because I have this big block thing that's, as I'm recording, it's telling me I'm recording, and it covers up the bottom half of the page. So I don't always see what's going on the bottom, what I'm doing there. So anyway, things you didn't need to know. But love this. I decided to use it after all. I was rejecting it at first because it was so bright, but then I thought, yeah, you kind of need a little jewel there, and looks like leaves. It went fine with the pumpkins. Love the pears that I added. I mean, if I had to lose my make it grow phrase, I'm glad I picked out the pears, because the pears are, to me, late summer, fallish fruit that, and Christmassy kind of even fruit that I eat at this time of year. And for some reason, I don't eat pears in the spring, and I don't know if it's because they're not in season or what. Love the little green gingham piece of fabric I found, threw that on there, and made me happy. So hopefully you like it too. I took my crayon, was giving some texture here to everything, adding some shadows, having a lot of fun with that. Love my crayons for that. Didn't know they would do that. I'm just so happy with them. Just